Okay, I think it's working now. Thanks, Restream. Okay, thanks everyone for attending this delayed version of Draftbit Office Hours live stream. This morning I'm joined by your buddy Aman, and today we also have Alan Nelson, an engineer at Draftbit, and he's going to do a pretty cool demo today. So if you have been a part of our live streams before, you know that we always start with a what's new at Draftbit segment. So I'll show you a few things that have gone on at Draftbit since we did our last live stream. We'll also do some Q&A. Because our stream is a little bit ahead of the social feed, please start throwing your questions and comments in as soon as you have them in your YouTube, Facebook, Twitter platform of choice, so we can get to them. We usually get them on about a 30-second lag, so start throwing your comments in now. And after we finish Q&A, I'm going to kick it over to Alan, and Alan's going to do a demo. And we've got some, I don't really want to spoil it, but we did kind of spoil it on Twitter this morning. Alan's been working on the Firebase project, and he's going to show us a bunch of cool stuff with Firebase. I think, Alan, you have like a music app that you're going to start building, like a instrument collection app you're going to start building. And we're going to have like a list view and an item view, and then you're going to create new records in Firebase and show them in Draftbit. A bunch of really cool stuff to show today. So, yes.
Yeah.
I'll mention at the top, and I'm going to mention it a few more times. We are demoing Firebase today. Firebase is currently in a private beta, so we have a couple dozen private beta users who are helping us kind of get the Firebase feature ready for prime time. If you want to be a part of that Firebase beta, there's an application form on our community site. That is community.draftbit.com. And if you go to the Firebase channel, you'll see a button that says apply to become a beta tester. So I'll put that link in the chat a few times, but it's just community.draftbit.com. And go to the Firebase channel and apply to become a beta tester. All right, let's talk about what's new at Draftbit. The first thing I want to mention is, again, this is the Draftbit community. And so we've got a few new cool guides that Aman wrote for you all that we published this week. The first one is a guide on connecting Zapier to Draftbit. So now you can create post and patch requests with touchables in Draftbit. So if you wanted to, say, trigger a Zap to update a record based on something in your app, there's a cool guide for that. The post is here on the community in the What's New channel, and it will link you to the docs where Aman's got that new documentation posted. Additionally, Aman also wrote a really great guide to Supabase, connecting Supabase to Draftbit via REST API. That link is also in the docs. Supabase, we love Supabase here at Draftbit. Supabase is like an open source version of Firebase without a bunch of the gotchas of Firebase. They don't have pricing plans that get super expensive. They're open source, and a bunch of other cool things about Supabase. So if you haven't heard about Supabase and you're thinking about your backend, definitely check those folks out. They also made a bunch of cool announcements this week about their product, and it's really exciting to be working with them. The next thing that I want to mention about Draftbit is we have some cool new text editing features in Draftbit. So I'm going to demo something that's still a little bit unpolished, but it's kind of cool. Let me reset my demo here. So if you've joined Draftbit live streams before, you know that I'm building a coffee app, and this screen in my app is designed to show you one coffee and display some information about it. And so there's previously, like, if you look here in this average ratings field, previously, if you wanted to combine static text and dynamic text, the way that you would do that is you would set up a couple of text components, flex direction them horizontally. And so like the average rating is static text and the number is dynamic text in my app. But we just implemented something that's really neat. Well, actually a couple of things. So if I wanted to, I'm going to double click on this text component. And now when I double click on it, it actually brings up text editing right in sort of in line on the canvas. So I no longer have to go over to the data tab, select the text input and change the text. I can just start typing immediately. And so I can now create a text field that if it's being fed by data, I can combine static and dynamic text. I'm just going to show you how I do that real quick. So I'll type average rating, semicolon, and then if I start typing, if I type a curly bracket, I can actually create I can either choose from a bunch of variables that are being fed by my database, or I can just type, coffee rating and create my own variable. And when I close those curly brackets, you can see a couple of things are happening. One, you don't see it show up in the browser because now it's become a variable, and that variable is awaiting data. And it's also created a variable in my data tab. And so when I can select a value for the rating, and you can see we have a little bit of formatting to fix, but let me see if I can find the rating thing here. Rating. Here it is. So I just mapped the variable that I created to the rating field in my database. And you can see that I've accomplished this with one field of text. This works really well for just quickly spinning up, actually, rather than tell you, I'll show you. Several office hours ago, like last year ago, we worked on creating this screen from the, let's see if this will load, the Spotify app. If you're a Spotify user, you might remember the year in review, like story cards that Spotify gives you. And if you remember that this story was designed to show you like stats about your usage in Spotify. Well, this is just one static text blob, and we kind of just like faked out the numbers. But now I could do cool things, like I could make these two numbers dynamic and the rest of the text static, and I can feed people like a personalized digest with their own information. So this unlocks things like that. So super exciting, really cool implementation. Yeah, hats off to the engineers at Draftbit who made that a reality. Okay, I think that's about it for what's new at Draftbit this week. We've got some really cool things that are like just on the horizon. So Firebase, I mentioned how to apply to get into the Firebase beta. We also have a custom code beta going on right now. So if you're a Draftbit user, you know that you can add your own custom functions to Draftbit. We're also working on letting you add your own custom components and packages into Draftbit. And so if you want access to these two beta features, components and packages, also go to the Draftbit community, community.draftbit.com, go to the custom code tab and apply to become a member of that beta. So there's two betas you can apply to become a tester in, custom code and Firebase. That's at community.draftbit.com. Okay, so we'll take Q&A. Let's see, do we have any questions yet? David said that he loves Zapier, super nice feature. I use it everywhere. Yeah, Zapier is, I think it's pronounced Zapier. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. But Zapier is indeed everywhere. It's a I call it like a glue tool, and Zapier really lets you connect tools that maybe you couldn't connect via API. So yeah, definitely check out Zapier, check out that guide, and don't forget to give us feedback on the guide. If you have any questions about it, you can comment directly in the community post, which is, I'll show you what that looks like. If you have feedback for us, for Aman, you can just comment directly in the post and let us know what you think of the guide. Okay, Keep the questions and comments coming. We'll address them as we go. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it over to Alan. Alan, you ready to do some demoing?
Yeah, sure.
Ready as you'll ever be?
I guess
All right,
so,
cool.
yeah.
I'm going to turn your screen on here. Can you do me a favor and just maybe increase the magnification of your window a little bit so it's just a little bit easier to see for the folks who are streaming?
Yeah, no problem. How's
Sweet.
that?
That looks pretty solid. Yeah, it looks really good.
Okay, so I'm just gonna start from scratch. I'm just gonna call my app Guitar Collection. And we're gonna start from blank and see what we can do here.
Sweet. So this app is going to be like a place for you to curate your own guitar collection in an app, basically.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of instruments, which I like to kind of categorize them and compare their different features and track maybe when I bought them and what kind of just interesting things about them. So this is a fun opportunity to use Firebase and to use Draftbit to interact with Firebase. So just as a note here, I'm going to be showing what's local on my machine. This is definitely a little bit bleeding edge, but I think that it's gonna show off some of the cool features that we've been working on, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna connect this thing to a. I'm gonna start off by setting up my showing you some Firebase data that I've been playing around with. This is just like my own test data that I've been messing around with for this app. You can see here I have a guitars collection here. I have various documents that are in this collection. I've keyed them off of just like the model number of the guitar, but this is like arbitrary. So I have like 5 different guitars in here, and I want to be able to visualize them and create new ones and edit them in my app. So just so you can sort of see what some of these fields look like, I've got a brand, which in this case I renamed to Blue, but it should be Yamaha. And I've got an image of the guitar, and I've got some extra information. This is actually, just delete that because who cares? Like what type of neck it has and whether or not it's been repaired and what my strings are, various fields here. So the first thing I think we can start off with is just like visualizing one of these Firebase document objects and making a screen to look at it. So let's start with that. I have a blank screen here. The first thing I need to do is wire up my Firebase connection. So I'm going to go to data here, and I'm going to add Firebase. And then to populate this menu, and I'm sure other people have seen this, but I'm going to go into my Firebase settings, project settings, and there's a handy dandy copy paste menu. I can grab this config. It will copy to the clipboard, and I can paste it in, and now I have my Firebase config. And then the second thing is the service account file. If you haven't downloaded one, you can download it from this menu here, service accounts. You can create one and download this little JSON guy, which you can get by generating a new private key. I already have one, so I'm just going to go and find it on my, it's right here. This is the JSON file, and it looks kind of like this. None of this is sensitive. I don't really care if anybody has this private keys. I don't use this for anything. But this is just a little bit of JSON that stores how your app can, oh no, I think that's, let me just plug that. Read property constructor of null. Oh no.
Did we break it?
I think it might be. I might have to go back to master's thing. Hold on just a second.
Alan is working on a non-production version of Draftbit, so sometimes there are unforeseen things that we have to resolve.
Indeed, indeed. Need to wait for this to reload. Oh, give it.
I should mention if you've got questions for Alan or comments or things that you want to see, drop them into the comments, and we will. I'll feed them to Alan when there's little breaks, and he'll answer them live. David said, "The demo effect."
It is.
Yeah, absolutely, the demo effect.
Never fails to fail. All right, let's see if this will load up for me now.
The good news is this works on prod.
Yes, this part works on prod. That's so I switched back to the master branch just to be able to create this thing. We'll see if that works. So compiling right now. Come on. How long is it take to compile?
Honestly, we started 15 minutes late because of restream issues, so I feel like a 3-minute delay in this Draftbit demo is completely acceptable.
Well, we'll find out if it's a 3-minute delay or.
Don't jinx it.
We'll see. All right. So I'm going to go back through these steps and hopefully I can get a successful. No, come on.
No, it doesn't like it.
What is going on? Okay. I'm going to make sure that I'm up to date locally. Why is it? I don't understand. I'm on master. Okay. Okay. Let's. Now my dog's going nuts.
What else? All right, let's see what else we can throw at Alan here. A flood, maybe, in the apartment.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. Do
you want me to give you some time to debug, Alan, and we can just kick over?
Yeah, give me just like a couple minutes to debug. I'm not entirely sure what is going on here, but I think that it's probably would be best just to take a second.
Okay, that's fine. Why don't we, Aman, you want to work with me on continuing on this coffee app? We can just keep messing around with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really like this. Well, I'm not going to mess that right now. Okay, so here are the things in my mind that we were working on last time. We were trying to get this recent reviews for the specific coffee thing working. So maybe we could, I remember we were struggling with the syntax for the Airtable API, but maybe one of us has solved it in our sleep a little bit and we can try and get this working again. So I'm just gonna For those of you who are not familiar with this ongoing project that we've been working on, while this snack is loading, I may have to refresh my screen. Let me go to Airtable, pull up my base. Wow, my internet is crawling today. So I have this coffee app. It's basically like Foursquare for coffee. And I have this tab called World, which contains quote unquote all the coffees in the world. It's not actually all the coffees in the world. It's just a subset. But and then like the idea is you can browse these coffees, go to one item view, and then quote unquote check it in. And so what we're working on right now is I have this. Let's refresh this because clearly browser crew doesn't like it. I want to be able to display the 3 most recent reviews or check-ins for a specific coffee. And so I already have the information for the specific coffee, this Decaf Colombia San Jose, displaying on the screen, but I have only a placeholder for the check-ins. And so if I scroll down, you can see that the check-ins are a linked record. Check-in ID 1 and check-in ID 4 from the check-ins tab. And so I want to display the meta information from these check-ins in my directly on the screen for this coffee. And so if I scroll down here, let's go snack. That sucks. I don't know. Snack is having issues today. I don't really know what's going on. I have these reviews down here, and we were last stuck at configuring the fetch query to get the check-in data. So we've already written an endpoint called get recent reviews, but I'm not sure. I think we were struggling to write it. Yeah. So let's go examine our endpoint. So right now we just have check-ins /ID. Oops. And let's go to the check-ins tab. Go to my API documentation. So basically what I want to do is I want to grab all the check-ins that are associated with a specific coffee. So to get one check-in, let's put a real ID in here. To get one check-in, I would pass one ID. But what I want to do is I want to get all the check-ins. So that should return all the check-ins as a list. So I'll save that. We'll build this iteratively. Save this. And now we can see the list of records here. And so we can now map data to these components. Oh man, this is like really this debounce behavior here is really frustrating. I don't know why we changed that. List, make sure it's mapping to Man, the demo effect is real today. I feel like we're having regressions all over the place. Okay, so I think I want the okay, I think I've done that right. Let's try this again. There we go. And we will map this to I don't know why this is like, I wish I could actually preview. I don't know why I can't scroll down or why I can't preview this. This fetch list is not working. Or snack is not working or something.
Can you open the code for me? I wonder if it's...
I have two fetches on the screen. Is that still hard for our data to handle?
Two fetches on, like two fetch hooks or two fetch components?
Two fetch components.
Two fetch components should be fine.
Okay.
So it says that constants.js couldn't be found or something. Screens. I also resolve module config constants.js. I was having a problem with loading up the global variables.
Really?
Have you tried to turn it off and on again? Well, that's a good question.
I guess I could. Let me quickly. I'm gonna turn off my screen. I'm gonna see if this would be kind of funny, but I know that Brian was cleaning up Airtable, and I wonder if this thing moved and my auth key changed. I don't think that's right, but who knows? So let me go get my API key. Bearer, auth key, save. Save. I have a hunch that I know what it could be.
What's that?
I wonder what happens if I navigate to this page in Snack because I am passing in the global or passing in a navigation parameter. All right, I'm going to try to navigate to the screen from another screen and see if that works.
I think Snacks might be having issue. Like there wasn't, like I can debug it and see that all dependencies are broke.
Snack is having an issue? Like
Yeah.
like the Snack service, or like we're not working with Snack correctly?
I think the snacks service is having an issue.
Okay.
I had this problem yesterday, and like Brian and I talked with over it. So,
Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What this is like. Trying to think if there's anything we can demo if I can't preview what I'm working on here.
I got that bug that I had seen.
It's working.
Lovely.
All right, so we're gonna throw it back to throw it back to Alan then. It sounds like.
Well, we'll
see.
We'll do a round two. We'll do a round two.
All right.
All right. So
I want to shout out, by the way, all the people who have stuck around in this live stream. I don't know exactly who you are, but I can see that there are some of you. That's pretty funny.
All right. Well, yes, I agree. Cosign. Thank you for sticking around. Okay, so I'm just kind of breezing through this, but I'm going to re-add my Firebase config and the service account file, which I've downloaded. And then that's what's supposed to happen, is that it goes and finds all my collections, the same three that we had seen here, guitars, repairs, and users. And so now I have added Firebase to my app. But that's not the same thing as actually adding it to my screen so I can use that data. So that's what I'm going to start off with. I'm just going to start off with an app or a screen to view like a single guitar. Guitar, and I'm going to now go to the data tab on my screen. The way this menu looks is going to be changing soon because we're working on some visual redesigns, but the substance of it should be pretty much the same. So I'm going to I can either attach a screen to a Firebase document or a Firebase collection. And depending on if it's a document or collection, I specify the ID of the document. For a collection, soon we will have the ability to filter the collection as well. And we'll see collections in action in just a bit. But first, I'm going to select my guitar collection. And probably when I actually, like in a more fully fledged app, the document ID would come from a navigation parameter, for example, by clicking into this screen from, say, a list screen. But for right now, I'm just going to hard code it to this value C40, which is the name of of one of my guitars. It's a classical guitar by Yamaha. And so if I want to see what that data looks like in there, I need to add some markup to my screen to actually show that data. So I'm going to add a view and a text. And now that I have this feature, which Nick just showed, I can use it to visualize, say, what the brand is on my guitar. So I'm going to say that this is a guitars.brand here. Put that in there. And it has now correctly grabbed the data and grabbed the brand field off of that. I'm just going to make this centered so it's a little easier to see. Great. So say maybe this is all this guitar. And then I've got brand Yamaha, and maybe I can add some more information to this, like string, material, and our debounce is a little iffy there. But this is going to be this material, not sorry, strings, whoops, string type. There we go. String material is nylon. Okay, and then we'll do also, let's do an image. And apologies, I am like the least design-oriented person like probably you'll ever meet. So anything visual, I'm going to need a lot of help making it look good. But I can use the field in my, I can use this image field to load up the image, and this is just populated by a URL. So this isn't storing the actual image itself in Firebase. I haven't figured out how to do that, although I'm sure it's possible to store binary blobs or whatever. But for right now, I just grabbed a picture, a link to a picture of this guitar online, and now I have my really janky looking page here, but it's starting to show some actual data. And okay, so Nick, what would you suggest that I do next? The list screen or do the update? Kind of, I don't know. I'm sort of open to either one.
Yeah, I think maybe we get the list screen working real quick just so we can see all of them, and then when we submit a new item, then we can see it in the list.
Cool. Okay, so let's add a screen here. Let's say that this is, call this screen guitar list. And I'm going to go back to this data tab here, choose Firebase. This time I'm going to do a collection. And let's do this tar collection. And then for each item in that list, I want to render something. The way that I do this is with a list component. And so when I set up my list component, I have to tell it where the data of the list should come from. And the only option I have here is the data from my collection object. And then within here, I can render a markup for every item in that list. So first, I guess let's put everything under review. And then within here, let's see, I'm going to add some text and add maybe like, I don't know, what's the best way to like link something into another document? Probably, I mean, I could do that with a button or, I don't know. Got a lot of options here. Not that one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's call this guy, this button, let's just call it details. And for the text in here, I want to have it, it says details. I shouldn't have picked that up, but that's okay. I'll just call this, okay, so not all of these have a model field, which is makes it a little bit less clear. So maybe I can just add that. Maybe I could even just put this in the button itself, but in any case, let me just add these guys here. Add some fields. Oh, well, I could even use my update action to set those fields.
Ooh.
But for now, let's figure out how we can actually navigate to the guitar, individual guitar page from here. So I'm going to set up on this button here. I'm going to set up a interaction to, that shouldn't be blank. Oh, okay. Finish that. Okay. So when I click on this guy, I want to navigate to another page, which will be the guitar screen. And I want to pass in some data. Let's say that this is the, pass in the, let's call this guy document ID. And then see, I can use any of the fields that are inside of this collection. And oh, ID is not one of those fields. That's right. We needed to manually add that in. Well, I could, let's see, I could use the model, or do we not? We don't let people navigate, or we don't let people access the ID field. Is that? No, that should be in there.
Is it not in this branch, maybe?
It might not be. Just one quick second, I can.
Even if we don't have document ID to pass for the navigation, could we still demo submitting data to the server and seeing it show up in the list?
Yes, we definitely can. So yeah, I'll put that down as a to-do. We should be able to use the ID field off of this guy. So this is a bit of technical details, but if you look in the fields here on any one of these documents, it doesn't actually list the ID as one of those. Internally, we set it up so that the ID is accessible, but we have not populated this list to include that field. So expect that to change shortly. But for right now, I'll just hard code it C40. And then no matter what I click, it'll be C40, which I know is a valid ID. So now let me change this to be driven by that navigation parameter. So on this screen data, I can right now I have it hard coded as a document ID, but instead I can make it dynamic, done from navigation. And this is going to red screen because I haven't actually passed in anything. But when we actually show it in the in Snack, which I will demo in just a second, then we'll be able to see, actually do the navigation. So for
assuming Snack works for you.
Assuming, yeah, which might be optimistic. We'll see. All right, so I have this Snack session here. Open it up. And okay, so this is because it's trying to load up a document that has not been set yet, because it's defaulting to an empty string. So I can just make that C40, say default. All right, so now it will work for that if it doesn't have any navigation in there. Okay, so if I'm on my, well, how do I make it? I don't know how to navigate back. Maybe I can just make it so that this one is my current. How do I change what like the screen is when it loads? Because I want to have it start off on the list and then.
Oh, in your navigator, if you change the initial route to the screen, it's I think in the click the root navigator.
Yeah.
And then in the I think it's in the configs panel. Yeah, initial route's the second option there.
Cool. Do I need to regenerate this or can I make an update? Just gonna make a new one. Okay. I didn't want to navigate me to that page. It still tried to navigate me here. So I'm not sure exactly what that is, but what I can show is that for the I hard code this guy again. want to update something on here, I'm just going to show a really quick update example. Let's say that I have a field on guitars called like comment. Let's put it that way. I'm going to add a field. So this is something you probably will actively develop in your Firebase app. You can add new fields, and then I'll show you how you update the front end or the Draftbit builder to pick those new fields up. So I'm just going to call this comment. This was my first classical guitar. Add. And I'm going to refresh my Firebase data. So it picks up that new field. And now let's say that I wanted to show this. I'll put this below the image. Here, text. And then say this is a comment. This was my first classical guitar. Okay, so now let's say that I wanted to update that comment or any other piece of information. I'm going to put in a text input. Edit that guy. And I can just leave that for now. And then I'm going to add in a button to actually update the document. So I'm going to imagine that I'm setting up something to update this comment field. And if I want to have the user be able to type that in, then how would I do that? Let's see, update comment. Okay, so I have a button here. I'm going to add an action to this button. Now, if you remember, or if you've done this before, Gate was one of the things that we set up before, but there's also update and create Firebase documents. So I'm going to update because we have the we already have one, and then for this for the document ID, I'm going to use the document ID for navigation, and for my collection, I'm going to update the guitars collection, and then the order depends there. So this is not the prettiest UI. We're kind of hammering this out, but what we have here is a JSON-like syntax, which if you've ever done REST API stuff in Draftbit, then this will be familiar to you. It's a JSON-like syntax where you can include variables in double curly braces, and then the actual values of those variables you can configure to whatever you want, and they default to null if they're not set. So this just pre-populates with all the stuff that we have in here. And one thing that we don't have the ability to do is like update without setting all the other fields to null by default. But the easy way to do that is just to delete all these other fields. It repopulates them, but I only want to update the comment field. So I'm just going to say, okay, I just want to set the comment to this new comment, and then map that to, let's say, the text input value. All right, so now I should be able to update my comment. I'm going to, hopefully, this will work in live preview. All right, so this is a great beginner classical guitar. Comment. Okay, if it didn't live update. Which is the whole freaking page. So should be firing this thing off.
See if it updated your Firebase.
Yeah, let me see if that. It didn't. Yeah. This was my first class motor. No. That's weird because update Firebase. Well, okay. can. Not the best. Well, and now Snack doesn't want to do itself. Maybe that was the problem.
Could be a Snack issue.
Could be. Didn't seem to want to fire off the update. Yeah. Why is it not? Is Snack? Maybe Snack is having an issue because like this is still the old one. It's unfortunate.
I mean, if this is like,
demo.
I think the important or the valuable takeaway here is like, this is how you do it. Like you just kind of walk through how to do it. It's just
Yes,
something that's not
exactly.
firing.
Well, you can imagine the last part where it works, but the the process here is the same as you would set up any other interaction, and you can drive the you can drive the fields to update through you know, any variable option. You can also create a Firebase document. So if I wanted to create an entirely new one, it's a very similar screen to set that up. You just choose the initial field values, and it, you know, will populate everything for you. And as far as the actual action, though, I don't know why it's not working. It's frustrating. But okay, so that's probably as much as, I mean, I know we're at time here. That's probably as far as I'm gonna be able to get today. And hopefully we'll have an update with like where we can show more of that like working end to end, and hopefully without these what appear to be Snack issues. But yeah, thanks for walking through that.
Yeah, that was really good. Thanks for sticking with it, Alan. And I mean, it's super exciting, right? We saw how it all worked, and it's a really useful reference point for us to go back and mess with it once Snack is working. So thanks for joining us today. Aman, thanks for joining us as well. We will resume our office hours next week on Friday. So come on back and see some new cool stuff in Draftbit. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a great weekend.